One of the guys in the seminary heard it, who was a member of his church. He said, I can make this deal happen. And he said, we're going to make the deal happen that you have this little church on Camp Wisdom. $225,000 was what they asked for. If we were bringing in $2,500 a month, we were doing good.
I met a stranger that came up to me a couple of years ago now. And he said, excuse me, are you Priscilla? And I said, yes, I am. He said, I was on the board of elders at the church that owned the A-frame building, which is the first church building that our church owned here on Camp Wisdom Road. He said, I was on the board of that church. We were the people trying to sell that church because we needed to move somewhere else. And he said, we had two offers. And he said that your church had given us the lower offer. Well, he said, as we were praying about these two offers, we just felt in our soul that Oak Cliff Bible Fellowship was supposed to be the church. We were $75,000 short now for what we needed. So we prayed for a miracle of our own. And he said, we were able to go to this landowner over here and say, we don't have the $75,000, but this is what we do have. And that landowner had been moved by God to sell it to us for what we had.
My life's purpose is to get God's truth out to countless numbers of people located everywhere in the world who need to hear God's truth, be impacted by God's truth, and be transformed by God's truth.
The ministry of the Urban Alternative started with just reproducing tapes of sermons.
The fulfillment office of the Urban Alternative was my mom hauling these bags for shipping at the post office on Polk Street.
And it started with really getting tapes out. And I say tapes because it wasn't CDs back in 1981. It was just tapes of his sermons.
She's hauling these huge bags filled with packages up and down. Like there might be 4 or 5 of these huge bags of packages.
People had a large demand for his tapes and ministry. They wanted to hear him at every point of time they could. And KCBI, Criswell Radio Network, a local radio station, wanted to have an African-American presence on their station. So they started a program block on Sunday afternoons called the Amen Corner. It was targeted toward the African-American community.
But that became so popular that it became a separate business.
We listened to Dr. Tony Evans in Cleveland, Ohio on WCRF Radio, the Urban Alternative. And we listen every night for that 30-minute snippet of just profound information.
It's now, it includes over 1,000 radio stations across the world. It includes over 40 television stations across the world.
So if you want a better world composed of better countries inhabited by better states, made up of better counties, composed of better cities, inhabited by better neighborhoods, influenced by better churches, made up of better families, we need a generation of better men. And start with us today.
From 1980 until, I guess around 85, 86, the church just mushroomed. The word got out. Dr. Evans is preaching the word.
When I heard Dr. Evans speak, that changed me. And before you know it, I'm at church every Sunday, I'm at church every Wednesday, I'm involved in the ministry. So he had that type of impact on my life.
3 services, 1 Saturday and two on Sunday.
I've always taken my son to church, always taken him. But when I came to Oak Cliff, it was so different. He was a freshman in high school. I didn't want to force him to come again. I wanted him to come because he wanted to come. Well, he saw life change in me. He saw his mother changing right before his eyes, made him curious about where I was coming to church. So he decided to come over.
They decided that we were going to build a church to satisfy the demand of people that want to hear the Word of God. We started the project. There was a big issue with finances, and we had to cease. That was a pretty rough time.
Met in Carter High School in the auditorium.
For a while.
which I thought was so cool to be in the high school.
And incidentally, when we moved to Carter High School, the church even grew bigger. There was some discussion, I was in on it, about why build a church, build a family life center, use it for a church, and then go to church. And that was the plan. We were able to build the family life center in about a year and a half.
From the A-frame building to the Family Life Center, multi-purpose building built for church on Sundays and community impact during the week.
In the Family Life Center, there were 2 services, and we went to the first service. And sometimes we went to the second service. And what I really enjoyed, not only Dr. Evans' teaching, but to see how the men operated in the church.
They would roll out the carpet in the Family Life Center gym.
Roll it back up.
Every Sunday, they would stack the chairs after the service. And it was automatic. Not one man left out of that room without stacking the chairs to get ready for the next ministry.
To watch this church, as large as it is now, come from a little body of people, and you just took time and trained them. And it works. It just works. We don't know how, but the Spirit of God makes it